Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. I'd like to come in and speak to you just for a moment about a few things that you may not be aware of. But I'm here, hopefully, to try to help stimulate your thought pattern, your conscious, to help you to think outside the box and the conditioning process the way we have all been trained. My question to you is this. Why do we always seek judgment of a person who's always bringing forth the message of truth? I mean, why do we always judge them? Now, I will tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because we have such a deep condition within our own souls, the souls of us. It's called a sin condition. Whether you want to acknowledge that fact, truth, or not, that is the truth. And it's much more easier for us to pass the blame, to shift the buck, and to attack the messenger rather than simply dealing with my heart and my own self, because to change is just simply too painful. And I don't want to do that, because if I do admit what is being said is the truth, that means I have a very painstaking task set up in front of me. That means I'm going to have to turn from this way. I'm going to have to repent. I'm going to have to pray. Then I'm going to have to endure. And I'm going to have to prepare my heart. And then I'm going to have a plan for this change. And I don't think I want to do all that. And the reason why I don't want to do all that, because I don't want to change who I am as a person. So you have to search for a way that will confirm your present condition to make you feel good. That's the reason why we're reluctant to change. I'll give you an example. Some months ago, I had a sister and her husband who come to assembly here. And one of her main concerns is wearing a two-piece bikini on a bathing beach, or some of you call beaches, lakes, rivers, or wherever you may go. Now, mind you, I'm a pastor, so she's asking me this question. And so my answer to her is very simple. Your body was designed for you to reveal it to your husband, and your nakedness to him and him alone and not nobody else. Now, mind you, I'm giving my heart conviction. I'm giving her what I really truly believe as a student, a disciple of the scriptures. All right? And I told her that if you cannot come outside of your bedroom in a pair of panties or a bra, and you can't put yourself on display in front of your guest at your home that's visiting your home, then you should not go to a beach where a bunch of strangers are and actually put your body on display there either in a two-piece bikini, because it's still the same concept, same thing. Well, she didn't like that. And so what was the next step? The same thing that many people do here on YouTube. When you don't like something, you go search for others to give you the answer that will suit your present condition. When you don't like something, you go search for others, or you search for ways to condemn the messenger, but you can't do nothing about the message, because the message is based on the spirit of truth, and the truth is what sets you free. And a lot of times, since we are a slave to certain conditions, we are slave to sin in our hearts, slave to sin in our minds and stuff, we would much rather stay in that condition. Because a slave that loves his chains has no reason to be free. And not even seeking freedom, really truly don't want to be free, because they have come accustomed to their chains. Well, so the nature is now what I do. Well, I actually find ways to attack the messenger. I attack the messenger and stuff because I don't like what he said to me. It's not that what he said was wrong. It's just that in my own heart and mind, which is deceitful and desperately wicked, I don't want to hear it. That is not what I want to hear. So therefore, I'm going to have to break fellowship, and we want to separate from these points right here, because I don't agree with that. It's not that the message can be attacked. So we look for ways to discredit the message. And sometimes we find that highly difficult to do. It's like, for instance, about the real true history of Thanksgiving. You said and watched this video. You know, this time of the year just happened to be the time of the year that a lot of Americans have been conditioned and trained to celebrate this religious, pagan, Christian holiday called Thanksgiving. And Pastor Dow gets on here and gives you historical facts. J. Snip Ford, who probably was not even aware of the celebration of the Feast of Thanksgiving. So he heard my video. He went back. He did his due diligence, did his own research, and found out the truth, made a video, backed up and confirmed what I said because he did his own individual research. Instead of, he received the information, he listened to what I had to say, but rather than biting off on everything that he said, he showed himself to have a little bit of nobility. His nobility is that he went and proved the things himself. He confirmed the things within himself. Then he made a video. And in that video, he ended up telling the truth. And that's what a lot of people are not willing to do. For instance, instead of dealing with the subject matter at hand, what people do is they go look for other scenarios. They go look for other digressions to speak about and talk about the plight of others rather than dealing with the subject matter at hand. The subject matter with Thanksgiving, I'm dealing with Thanksgiving from a historical viewpoint and standpoint. And you can't even talk about the plight of the Indians. You can't even talk about the plight of the American Negroes. You can't talk about the American blacks or anything without everybody else going and talking about what they believe to be is true history and start digressing off into everything else. But you know why? Because we really truly don't want to look at the condition of our heart. Because to do that, that means I have to deal with truth. And because to deal with truth, that means I have to admit my own personal faults. Then I would have to change my mind. So let's get off the subject. Let's deflect the energy. Let's deflect the sight from the subject matter at hand. And let's go off into many other digressions. And let's deal with something else to justify the reason why we can stay in the same old wicked condition that we're in now. This is the epidemic and the bizarre behavior that's going on in the assemblies that we're in now, much less our own mind and conscience. I tell you what, it is off the chain. If you'd like to hear more, hey, I'm on blogtalkradio.com/straightway every Friday from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Do a little bit of teaching, a little bit of preaching about economic times and stuff. Then I take your phone calls and I answer your phone questions. Hey, you like to be here tonight? Like to have you there. Also, you can catch us every Friday night on www.onlinechurch.org. We have the information in this video, also down here. The truth is, we are something else. Galatians 4:16 says, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Well, yeah, sure you will. Anytime you stand for truth and you oppose evil, you make yourself an enemy of the Shaitan. And that's the truth, and that's the truth straightway.